Well, hello everybody, welcome back to Trent Bridge with the players and the umpires making their way back to the middle for the last session of the day. An important one, this one, for Nottinghamshire's batsmen, because Notts will be batting for 30 overs. Leicestershire having made 192 in their 60 overs earlier in the day. 4 wickets were lost. Another couple of players retired out, or retired not out, whichever. I know there's always a bit of a debate about that with the scorers, but they're retired anyway. Sam Evans having made 52, and Colin Atkinson, the skipper, a fairly fluent 29. Other contributions: 41 from George Rhodes, 30 from Lewis Hill. Richie Patel 10, Scott Steele 11 not out, Ben Mike 5, and Harry Swindles 3 not out. So Nottinghamshire will be batting. Gavin Griffiths is going to bowl, but who he's going to bowl to, I've no idea yet, because we've got 13 people on the field, 2 umpires and the 11 Leicestershire players, and now here come the 2 batsmen. You'd expect it to be Slater and Hamid. In fact, as they make their way down the steps, I can see it is certainly Hamid, and it looks like Ben Slater alongside him. Gavin Griffiths, then former Lancashire man, been with Leicestershire now probably 5 years, something like that. Going to open the bowling. Seb Hamid did get a 50 at Edgbaston, and of course Ben Slater a century here against Oxford UCCE, Oxford University students. So both have had time in the middle. Last time they opened the batting together against Leicestershire was at Grace Road back in the Bob Willis Trophy back end of last season, and they put 200 on. 87 and 86. Can't remember who top scored. I think Hamid top scored, but it may be the other way around. Griffiths then to bowl. Ben Slater on strike. What we can say about Ben Slater being on strike is the first left-hander we've had out there all day. Very right-handed side sent today by the Foxes. And here's Gavin Griffiths to bowl down the leg side, and goes through to Harry Swindles. We didn't, of course, see Hassan Azad today, or Harry Dearden. You'd imagine they would, if not quite, be definites penciled in by Paul Nixon and the coaching staff. You'd imagine they'd be high on the list of probables to start, but no lefties today. This is clipped away. Of course, Marcus Harris, who's going to be joining the Foxes as they're overseas the first part of the season, is the left-handed opener as well. So when things get underway for real, they will have a left-handed contingent. Meanwhile, Ben Slater is up and running. Couple to him. Lots to lose and plenty to gain in these little sessions. It's very important that all the players do make the most of their opportunities, as Slater's trying to do here, forcing this one into the offside for another couple of runs. Moving on to 4. Might just seem like, oh well, you've only got 30 overs in which to bat, might as well give everybody a go. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. Otherwise, you sort of have that mentality going into the Championship proper. Notts would want Slater and Hamid to bat for as long as possible, and have it sort of within their own powers to perhaps retire them and pop somebody else out there should they need to. But in the meanwhile, they'd want this pair just to go about it as if it were a championship match and try and blunt the new ball, ease themselves into the job and get the board ticking over. Three slips have been posted there. Rishi Patel is at first slip, Colin Atkinson the skipper at second, and George Rhodes at third. Three other fielders on the offside and three on the leg. As Griffiths comes in, past umpire Baldwin, and Slater pushes it into the offside, and there's no run. Final ball of the over. Griffiths has decided he's going to go round the wicket, so Ben Slater's taken a fresh guard. Decent enough stuff from both. Tidy over from Griffiths, but a couple of twos gets Ben Slater up and running, and knots a four without loss. With the clocks having changed, we have got a little bit of licence to drift on past 6 o'clock. Didn't really have it in the match against the Students because, of course, the clocks hadn't changed, and the 6 o'clock finish, I think, was just about all they could manage. They'd have needed to put the lights on had they gone on any longer, but managed to get it in. Going to be Alex Evans to bowl. The second over from this, the Radcliffe end, bowling to Asiba Mead. That's a good delivery, straight through in. 5 first-class appearances for Alex Evans so far. A couple last year, picked up just the 3 wickets in the Bob Willis Trophy. Years of age, born in Bedford. Bristling right arm fast medium. Wasn't on the card to have a bat today. Looking to make his mark with the ball. Hamid. Again, the leave with the flourish, the leg side flourish. Evans again in bright sunshine, and something or someone has distracted Asiba Mead as he backs away at the last second, causing the run up to be aborted. No third man, you can imagine any width, and Hamid is going to be just chopping it down there, but I guess in a way that's what Leicestershire are hoping for. He tries to run one down into the gap and finds it too close to him and feathers it through to keeper or slips. So a maiden to begin with for Alex Evans. Decent enough opening over from him. And back to the pavilion end and Gavin Griffiths. Now 27, born in Ormskirk. Short and pulled away by Slater. Emphatically. Well, it's been signalled as a 6 by square leg umpire Nick Cook, and Paul Baldwin, who was initially halfway through his flourish to signal a boundary, changes it. It was a short pitch ball that Slater, on the pull, managed to get just over the ropes. So the first 6 of the day takes Ben Slater. In fact, it's not gone on the board as 6 as yet, because Notts did get 4 from the opening over. Board's not right. I think it should be on 10. This time it's defended. Scoreboard still incorrect here at Trent Bridge, showing 8, but yeah, the umpire's now. Paul Baldwin has turned. I don't know if he's chatting to some of the Leicestershire players or he's looking towards the screen now. Anyway, I'm sure it will be rectified in a matter of moments. There's Griffiths. In, short, and Slater's done it again, pulling it away on the leg side. And let's have a look where that one's gone. That one's a 4. Well, they've only moved the board on to 12, but they definitely had 4 from the first over, and the first one, as I say, Paul Baldwin was initially signalling 4, and then Nick Cook said it's a 6, and he changed it to a 6. And whether the scorers didn't pick that up, and Slater again on the leg side, but there is protection out there. They get a single, so another one to him. Board is on to 13. I'm pretty sure the score is 15 though. That brings Asiba Mead down to this end for the first time in the innings. Yet to get off the mark. Griffiths to bowl to him. Former Lancastrian to former Lancastrian. This one's miss hit up to mid-off, and there's no run. First time I saw Gavin Griffiths was one of his very first one-day matches for Lancashire. It was at Aigburth, Liverpool, the time that Lancashire were wearing that lime green one-day strip, and he picked up 2 or 3 very important early wickets for Lancashire, but Notts got over the line one anyway. There's another boundary for Hamid, and he's off the mark. The board says 17. I'm pretty sure it should be 19. Yes, just looking at the online scorecard, they've still going to 17, but a couple of fours to Slatehill. The first one was definitely changed by both umpires as a 6. And now they've just changed the board, so obviously there would have been a little bit of chatting. And Cosworth and Ian Smith are our scorers for this match, and Cosworth in the downstairs in the media centre. Ian Smith working the screens, and between them they've got it all right up there now. 19 without loss, 15 to Slater. Hamid has 4. Good this from Evans. It's 11 dot balls is sent down, putting the ball in testing areas. So back-to-back maidens for Alex Evans. Don't know if one of our cameramen is able to zoom in on the nets, but Jake Ball has just arrived wearing a mask, but looks as if he's going to have a little bit of a loosen up. Good to see Jake back, having been England's drinks carrier across the different formats through the winter. Start of a new over with Gavin Griffiths bowling to Asiba Mead. So Stuart Broad was on the ground this morning. Jake Ball here this afternoon. Stephen Mullaney's over there with him as well. So you'd imagine Mullaney isn't going to be expecting to bat out in the middle anytime soon. Griffiths bowls. Mead again flips it on the leg side and then does an almost Doney-like whip round with his bat. 19 without loss. Leicestershire made 192 for 4 from their 60 overs, so little more than 3 and over. Fletcher wandering the ground, and even that doesn't interrupt a bit of a chat between him and umpire Nick Cook. Mead again, happy to block. Fletcher, I think, now is going to be talking to Sam Evans. Anybody and everybody on his way round the boundary. Hey up, Sam, how you doing, lad? Hello, Luke. What do you reckon? Tough from this end, kid, isn't it? It is. Does like to wander around the boundary when he's not involved. Fletcher goes through to the keeper. It's very much a player who likes to when he's in season. When it's in season, he does like to really give it everything with regards to his training, his strict fitness regime. Wasn't always the way, as he'd be the first to tell you. Here's Griffiths, bowling to a Mead again, happy to block. Griffiths to Hamid, again clips it to mid-on, and there's no addition. Something gone for 19 in his previous over. A maiden this time for Gavin Griffiths. Jake Ball now bowling in the nets. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Another name to throw into the frame, potentially. Decent start to this is third over for Alex Evans. It's time to slate it. Still to leak his first run. Just two slips, but there's a leg slip or a leg gully positioned in there as well. Slater drives and off the fingers of Alex Evans into the stumps at the non-striker's end, but Asiba Mead hadn't gone anywhere. A little bit of repair work for Nick Cook to do. Just throw himself into it. Alex Evans, 2 or 3 times we've seen the arms raised aloft as if he scored the winner in the cup final. Yet to breach the defences of this Nottinghamshire pair. Energetic approach. Here he comes, kicking those heels up. And this was a low full toss, which Slater can only punch to mid-off. Missed out a little bit. Very good from Alex Evans. 3 straight maidens to the youngster. That's the block of 6 overs done and dusted. And they will troop off the field momentarily just to get a little squirt of hand sanitizer. And then return in just a second with knots 19 without loss. 15 of them coming in 1 over, and 4 maidens out of the 6, yet knots a 19 without loss. Imagine for the Foxes we'll see a little bit of Ed Barnes and maybe some Ben Mike, perhaps a bit of spin from Callum Parkinson. Nice looking shot from Hamid, but that's well stopped at backward point by well, that's Dieter Klein out there, so he might get a bowl as well. Klein, another one who wasn't on the list today to bat. Of encouragement from his teammates for Gavin Griffiths, who comes in from the pavilion end and bowls, and Hamid clips it onto the leg side and no run. This one goes through to the keeper. Shadow from the floodlight right across the strip now, and a little bit shadow right in front of Asiba Mead. into the 7th. 21 without loss. Nottinghamshire, Slater 15, Hamid 6. Once again, the batsmen are enjoying themselves once they're in. It's a track very difficult to dislodge set batsmen. Going to be Alex Evans again. Certainly putting the ball in good areas, asking questions of the Nottinghamshire openers. Broad bat of Slater again, frustrating Evans. Tom Moores, meanwhile, having a net against the bowling of Stephen Mullaney and Jake Ball, away to my left. .21 for none. Evans in again, and that one kept low. That's, I think, the first noticeable one. At the far end there that's scuttled along a little bit. I think a couple during the course of the day coming from this end who appeared to just keep a fraction low. This really is excellent from Evans. This one was nicked, it stopped at second slip, and I think Slater was deliberately trying just to dab it down there in that gap, get it away to third man if he could, but unable to break the shackles. Another miserly mean over from Alex Evans, who's 4 overs, 4 maidens. Gavin Griffiths, 4 overs, none for 21. 15 of them coming from 1 over. Griffiths to bowl to Hamid. Nice looking shot, 4 runs. Hamid with a good stride, getting to the pitch of the ball. And lovely flow of the bat, finishing it off with a nice flourish as the ball raced away, penetrated that offside. And that remarkable initial season when he was only 19. Asiba Mead, 4 centuries. This was back in 2016. Come back for a couple of runs here. Got him into the international reckoning that winter. Played 3 test matches in India. And since then, just almost disappeared off the radar. He's only scored 100 since then. That was in 2019 for Lancashire. Made some fine starts for Notts last year, having been released by the Red Rose. And this is nicely stopped at mid-on. Neck sticking out. I don't think it's the bravest forecast of all time, but I would be staggered if Asiba Mead didn't add to his career tally of centuries during this summer. He's the sort of player I think if he got in and made a daddy 100, got a double 100, there'd be no stopping him. He'd perhaps churn out another really high scoring season. Seven without loss. Mead has 12. Mead has he got 16 or 18. Now where did that land? It's gone for 6. Short from Griffiths, pulled away by Asiba Mead. Really gave that a meaty blow, and the Notts net players and those that are watching them just had to just be careful, just move out of the way. It was touch and go whether it was going to land inside the rope or just over it, but a 6 to Hamid. You wouldn't imagine at first glance that he'd be the sort of player to hit 6s, but same as anybody, if you get a bad ball, he'll put it away. Bats, of course, are terrific these days. Didn't need much helping on its way. That really was a fabulous shot. 10 from the over means that Griffiths now has figures of 5 overs, none for 33. All 33 runs have come from him, of course, because 4 maidens at the other end. Quite a bit of a topsy-turvy look about the scorecard and scoreboard. So Cal Evans keep his little streak going. Yet to concede a run. Evans once more. Slater onto the leg side. They might have taken a risky one there another day. Just exchanged ends, but he decided not to. Was it to Lewis Hill, who you often find with the gloves on, but Harry Swindles has got them today. Cook certainly not confining his lengthy chats solely with Nottinghamshire players. Then right good natter with Callum Parkinson in between deliveries. There's Evans. 5th ball of this over, and still hasn't conceded a run. Final ball of the 10th over. Evans to Slater. Can't get him away. It's another maiden. 33 without loss after 10 overs. Alex Evans, 5 overs, 5 maidens. Gavin Griffiths, 5 overs, 1 maiden, none for 33. It may be that there's going to be a change at the far end. I think Ben Mike is getting himself ready to come on from the pavilion end. It is going to be Mike, so Griffiths out of the attack. Just giving you his figures, 5 overs, none for 33. Ben Mike, 22 years of age, born in Nottingham. Played in 4 Bob Willis Trophy games last year. Joint leading wicket taker with 9. It's right arm fast medium. And as we've mentioned earlier, his dad used to play for Notts back in the late 80s, early 90s. Mike to Hamid, short, 4 runs. I think the coaches would say don't bowl there. It was a bit of a loosener from Ben Mike, and Nasib Hamid pulled a nice 6 away in the last over. Wasn't going to miss out on that one. Better delivery, bustled on to Hamid. Just had to have his wits about him there to bring the bat down and push it back nice and straight back to the bowler. 37 without loss into the 11th over. We'll just go on beyond 6 o'clock. That's pretty much a definite. Now what on earth was that? Well, nobody's signalled anything here. Ben Mike bowled it. Surely it's got to be a wide. No, 1 for the over just called by Paul Baldwin. Banged it in so short. He just looped up over Hamid, who was having nothing to do with it. As ever, the bowlers' union quick to blame the crease, scuffing away there at the surface. Mike in to Hamid. I'll take a signal here, but there's a shy at the stumps from backward point. D decline, left-handed of course. Slater on 15. Chops it again to Klein at backward point. All the football matches finishing up and down the country. Forest winning 1-0 at Cardiff and Mansfield losing 2-0 at home to Leyton Orient, the two local results. Notts County winning lunchtime kick-off against Wrexham. It's nicely pulled by Slater into the leg side. He'll get a single. The last half an hour of the day, so not for another half an hour or so. Once they're waiting for football interviews and what have you, BBC Radio Nottingham will be joining us for a bit of a chat as to how the season might go and what's happening in this particular match, but that's not for half an hour or so, but you'll hear me talking to somebody else on the line. 39 without loss. All 39 runs have come from the Pavilion end. No runs at all yet from the Radcliffe Road end, where Alex Evans is about to start his 6th over, bowling to Ben Slater, who's on 16. He's faced 36 deliveries. Hasiba Mead has faced 30. Both batsmen have hit sixes. You often get that with openers, do you? Inside the first 10 overs, both openers hitting a 6 in a red ball game. It is only a friendly after all, but little unusual nonetheless. Klein, I beg your pardon, Evans. I was looking at Dieter Klein when I said that. Evans bowling to Slater. I think it was worked out last year. I think Mike Goulder worked out that Ben Slater last year, in playing for Leicestershire, having of course already played for Derbyshire, was only the second player in history to play first class cricket for all 3 East Midlands counties, and the other one was AJ Harris. And that one's hit him on the pad, and he's got a wicket, and Slater goes. And that's good reward for Evans. He really has posed questions throughout and has got the verdict here. Nick Cook raising the finger, and Ben Slater goes LBW to Alex Evans for 16, and Notts a 39 for 1 halfway through the 12th over. Ben Slater batted for 47 minutes, faced 39 balls, and it won 4 and a 6. But he has to trudge off. Not too happy, but some time in the middle, another 3/4 of an hour or so out in the middle. It is Ben Duckett on his way to join Hasiba Mead in the middle. Nottinghamshire's 2 former England Test players, like Hasiba Mead. Duckett made his Test debut after a sparkling 2016 summer and played in both Bangladesh and India, 2 Tests in each, but hasn't attracted the attention of the selectors since then. Bagged a pair in the match here against the Oxford University side. Said at the time, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it in a pre-season warm-up friendly rather than when the meaningful stuff arrives. Didn't feature too heavily amongst the runs at Edgbaston either, so we'll be hoping either, well, in the time that remains today or possibly tomorrow to have a lengthy bat. 39 for 1. Evans 1 for none. Evans once more. Nicely defended by Ben Duckett. Just one ball left in this, the 12th over of the innings. So end of a successful over for Alex Evans. Sent down 5 maidens, and now he's sent down a wicket maiden. Terrific figures. 6-6-0-1 up on the board. 39 for 1 after 12 overs knots. Seba Mead has 23, and the man out Ben Slater for 16. Here's Ben Mike. Bowling to Hamid, nicked and caught. And a wicket for Ben Mike. And Notts have lost both openers now. Seba Mead caught behind. It's gone for 23. Good delivery. Just left the right-hander and feathered through to Harry Swindles. Both wickets going down on 39. Not exactly what Notts would have wanted. Hamid out. Made 23. 3 fours and a 6. Faced 31 balls and batted for 52 minutes. Nice bit of bowling from Ben Mike. I think this looks like Joe Clark. Coming out in his usual place at number 4 in the order. He too is yet to have a lengthy stay out there in the middle. Any of the matches this season. Twice, I think out of the 3 innings he's had, he's been caught early on, driving uppishly to extra cover. So a wicket at the start of the over. Clark, the new man, on strike, and Ben Mike with ball in hand. Clark doing just a little bit of, well, it's more inspection work really than gardening. Just had a little wander around, looked at the surface. Here's Ben Mike to bowl to the former Worcestershire man down the leg side, taken by Harry Swindles. Much more difficult take than from the previous delivery, where he was comfortably able to pouch the offering outside off stump. 49 for 2. Leicestershire made 192 for 4 earlier in the day. Wonder how long the Foxes will keep Alex Evans going. 6 overs now under his belt. 6 overs that have brought figures of 1 for none. It's a nice looking shot by Clark through mid-wicket. Certainly a couple of runs. Might be able to scout them now. They settle for 2. I was going to say they might just have tried to squeeze a third. Make Newell an interested onlooker. Just watching the action from the boundary edge. Bit of a chat with Stephen Mullaney, who walks past him to the end of his run in the netting area. Here's Mike. Down the leg side, goes through to Swindles. It's a couple of leg side deliveries. In fact, all 3 deliveries that Ben Mike has sent since the wicket have been leg side deliveries. The end of a wicket taking over. 41 for 2. Leicestershire striking in consecutive overs to remove Ben Slater for 16 and Asiba Mead for 23. Both wickets going down on 39. And we've got 17 overs left in the day. Evans out to bowl to Duckett. Getting that rushed through a little bit on Ben Duckett. I think it took him fractionally by surprise. Very impressive opening burst this from Alex Evans. Round the wicket again to the left-hander, as he has been throughout. Again, no runs conceded. It's worked to backward point. That's namesake Sam Evans making the stop. Two slips, Rishi Patel and Colin Atkinson. Nice and lively in the field, Leicestershire. Lots of encouragement for the bowlers. Evans to Duckett, through him and to the gloves of the keeper. Evans has got this reactionary arm waving off to a little bit of a fine art here. Every time he gets one past the bat, he's almost in celebratory mode. 41 for 2. 7 balls faced, yet to score. Now he will. First runs off Evans. That will deflate young Mr. Evans, no doubt. What a terrific effort. 1 ball to come in the 7th over, so 6 overs and 4 balls of dots. 40 deliveries, is that? 40 dots before he concedes a run. Now he goes back over the wicket to the right-handed Clark, who's going to face him for the first time. Extra slip brought in for the new batsman. And Clark is away straight away off Evans, clipping this through mid-wicket for 4. Lovely looking shot. Takes Joe Clark on to 6. He had a couple of singles to his name, or a couple that he clipped through mid-wicket in the previous over, but on to 6 now. And Evans' figures, well, they've been totally decimated. 7 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for 5 now. Terrific effort, and just wonder if he's now due a little rest. I think he was anyway. He's heading up to the boundary rope where his sweater is, down at long leg. May just pick it up and pop it on. Yeah, that's what he's doing, and he's got his cap there as well. So I think there'll be a change at this end. Wonder if too early in the piece for a little bit of spin. Eyes on Dieter Klein. I've not seen him loosening up yet. Ed Barnes is out there, maybe Ed Barnes. Push and run here from Duckett. Notts move on to 47 for 2. Wickets earlier in the day: Hutton, James, Patterson and Chappell. Patterson thought looked this morning as if he needed the bowl. He was much better in the second session. There's Ben Mike into Clark. Strikes him on the pad and begins an appeal, but doesn't persist with it. A black gloved hand taps the knee of umpire Baldwin. Must have got a little chilly because he's popped the gloves on now. 48 for 2. Duckett on strike. Mike bowls to him and crunched through the offside for 4 by Ben Duckett. High quality shot. Knots up to and beyond 50. 52 for 2. Both batsmen have 6. Here comes Ben Mike from the pavilion end round the wicket, left alone by Ben Duckett. Got a plain shirt on, no name or number on the back. Did have all the accoutrements earlier on when he was fielding. Number 17 Duckett on the back. 52 for 2. That's the end of the 15th over, so not so halfway through this little batting period. I suspect there is going to be a change made by the Foxers now, and I think it's going to be Ed Barnes. So, youngster. No opportunities for him really at Headingley. Just 2 first-class matches. Chance came to develop and strengthen his career at Grace Road, and has made the move during the off-season. Right arm medium fast bowler. Squad number 62. He's going to be bowling to Joe Clark. Just got 2 slips, but Manning catching it short mid wicket. Oh, he's gone a tumbling. I think they call it doing a Mark Wood these days. Nick Cook saying something to him. Get off my land. Can of course do yourself a mischief. Wouldn't be the first time a bowler has gone down and actually put himself out of the game. But thankfully Ed Barnes seems to be okay. There he comes. Bowls nicely and thuds this one into the thigh pad of Joe Clark. Once more. Again onto the pads. This time Clark does get a piece of the bat on it as well. Gets a single out to Alex Evans. 53 for 2 knots. Clark goes 1 ahead of his mate, Ben Duckett. Starting to get a little chilly now. It's been very pleasant this afternoon here at Trent Bridge. Blue skies, sun shining, a little bit of warmth, but you just well, you can feel it up in the commentary box. Certainly we've got the windows wide open, but imagine out on the field as well. And the players, the fielders are very much involved and rushing about to keep themselves warm. It be a little chilly. We've already noted Paul Baldwin, the umpire, with gloves on. 53 for 2. Overs now been sent down. Leicestershire with their first change bowlers on. Alex Evans and Gavin Griffiths opening up things. Now Ben Mike and Ed Barnes. It'll be Mike to bowl to Clark. This one is pushed up to mid-on, and there's no run. So remember, it all starts on Thursday. Notts at home here to Trent Bridge to Durham. A visit from my old mucker Martin Emerson, the BBC Newcastle correspondent, who's already been baiting me. And for Leicestershire supporters, I think Richard Ray's having a little bit of a look at a pre-season look at what's going on here today. Richard Ray will be at Grace Road for the match between Leicestershire and Hampshire. You'd imagine Kevin James would be popping up for that one, and all the action right the way across the BBC Sport website throughout the season. All the competitions brought to you by the BBC. All starts on Thursday morning, weather permitting. There'll be snow on the ground, they say, on Monday. 53 for 2. Next ball's forced into the offside. And there's no addition to the total. Guess we're going to be playing on till about 6:15. Which is absolutely fine. Mike with figures of 1 for 13 into Joe Clark. Clark joined Notts at the start of the 2019 season. Duckett came for a couple of games back end of the 2018 season, and neither of them yet have played in a winning Nottinghamshire County Championship game. So that's how long this sequence is. 27 Championship matches without a victory. Back to June 2018. We're looking to put that right against Durham. .53 for 2. You can tell Nick Cook's feeling it a little bit. The old back starting to give him jip. Been on his feet all day. He's been nattering all day. He's got nobody near him, Nick Cook, at the minute. He's got nobody to natter to. Mike into Clark, end of the over, and Nick Cook comes rushing in. I don't know if the camera caught him. He was clapping his hands there, front and back, just to get a little bit of warmth into them, get the blood flowing. So 13 overs remain. 53 for 2. This, in all probability, will be the pace that we'll go at for the remainder of the session. Nothing to be gained really by trying to go after the bowlers or try and be innovative. Just use it for match practice. Play as you would in a championship game, as Barnes round the wicket to Duckett, starts a new over. just joining us, Leicestershire batted for the first 60 overs of the day. Nice straight push back towards the bowler there from Duckett. Leicestershire made 192 for 4 from their 60 overs. Innings closed at tea. By lunch they were 84 for 1 from 28 overs. Lewis Hill had started nicely. Picked up some boundaries square of the wicket on the offside in the morning session before falling LBW to Brett Hutton for 30. That was 84 for 1. Duckett working this one away for a single, 54 for 2. After lunch, Sam Evans reached his 50. Fairly painstaking effort, but just what was required, really. Faced 118 balls, and then he pushed the next one back, 119th ball, and then walked off. It was the end of the over. Said he was retiring for 52. 8 fours in that. George Rhodes, who'd played nicely with him in that second wicket partnership, fell for 41. Good catch behind the stumps, diving full length by Tom Moores off the bowling of Lyndon James. It's nicely done by Barnes. Just a little bit of zip there. Got something about him, this young lad. So when George Rhodes was out, it was 146 for 2. Colin Atkinson was brutal to anything sent to him halfway down. He pulled 3 or 4 vigorously away through mid-wicket for boundaries, but got to 29 and said, "That's it, I've had my net." And let in Rishi Patel and Ben Might. Rishi Patel out for 10. LBW to Dane Patterson. First wicket here at Trent Bridge. Though it's not a competitive game as such, but nice for Dane Patterson, the South African overseas player, to pick up a wicket. Bowled much better after lunch than before it. Rishi Patel out for 10. That was 173 for 3. Ben Might made 5. Caught at slip by Ben Duckett off the bowling of Zach Chappell. I thought really did put it in today. Definitely one of the high spots, and it's very much got to be in contention for a starting berth, along with 14 or 15 others. It's going to be a difficult one. Ben Mike out for 5. That was 179 for 4, and then just a couple of overs in which for Harry Swindles and Scott Steele just to have a look at the bowling. Swindles 3 not out, Steele 11 not out. 192 for 4 at tea, and then since tea, Notts have lost both openers. An extraordinary opening spell from Alex Evans. Got reward when he had Ben Slater LBW for 16. Evans at that stage 6 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for none. He had 1 more over in which he went for 5 runs. Asiba Mead caught behind by Harry Swindles off the bowling of Ben Mike for 23. Both wickets falling at 39, and since then, just turn that effects microphone down a little bit, because that's the noisiest aeroplane. If it was a motorbike or something, you'd say sort your exhaust out, but noisy aeroplane going overhead. As Ben Mike bowls to Duckett, 54 for 2. Duckett and Clark have been together, put 15 runs on in 6 overs. Trent Bridge looking a picture as usual, but Trent Bridge missing the fans, as it has done now since the back end of 2019. 54 for 2. We will be having that chat in a moment or two to BBC Radio Nottingham. You almost certainly won't be able to hear the other end, the questions, but if you think I've totally lost the plot and talking to myself as I do a lot of the time, and perhaps have done for much of the day, I'm going to be having a chat to BBC Radio Nottingham in just a second. For Leicestershire supporters, understandably, it will be Nottinghamshire centric about the forthcoming season and what have you. So it'll only be, I'm sure, a chat for 2 or 3 minutes whilst they're just waiting to get 1 or 2 more interviews from the Nottingham Forest game. This is down the leg side, and there's a tickle away there by Clark, wasn't there? Yep. 59 for 2. Clark on to 11, did get some of the bat. Swindles went a long way but couldn't get there.
Okay, Jake Garner, 30th birthday tomorrow, by the way, Jake Garner, and he'll be on the radio to celebrate.
Clark pulling this out onto the leg side. Dieter Klein doing the fielding.
Telling him or sending a text or whatever you want to do. Embarrassing. Big birthday for him. He's celebrating by being on BBC Radio Nottingham, spending the afternoon with you, so make sure you spoil it.
So here comes that chat with BBC Radio Nottingham.
Not long till the cricket season gets back underway. County Championship season starting next week. They're playing their final friendly at the moment against Leicestershire, a 2-day game. Dave Bracegirdle is there and watching. Afternoon, Dave. How are you getting on, first of all?
Well, I'd like to think I was going to celebrate my 30th birthday tomorrow, but the next best thing is being here at Trent Bridge watching a little bit of cricket. This is, as you say, David, it's the third and final pre-season warm-up game that the Notts have had. They played the students of Oxford University here last week, started this week a 2-dayer at Edgbaston against Warwickshire. Now this one, the format of this is 2 days, each of 90 overs. Leicestershire batted for 60 overs up until tea, scored 192 for 4, and then the last 30 overs of the day, Notts are now batting, and they're currently 60 for 2, and they'll flip it over tomorrow. So Notts will bat for the first 60 overs tomorrow, and then after tea, Leicestershire will have 30 overs. I guess it's one of those days where it's difficult to sort of pick out any standout performers for Notts because the wickets were shared around. Thought Zach Chappell bowled quickly. He's going to be one of those that's put his name in very much into the frame. And for the first time, David, we've had a little bit of a look at Dane Patterson. It's the first time he's bowled, the new South African overseas. Very rusty this morning, I have to say. A few full tosses and a few loose balls. Much better this afternoon, and deservedly he did pick up 1 wicket. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for the start of next week to see if Notts can have a bit of success in the longer form of the game as well, Dave.
It is, and hopefully it's going to be one of those things when they do get a win. It might be like London buses, that 1 win brings 2. But the trouble over the last 2.5 years has been getting that 1 win. As we know, what is it, 27 championship games now without a win, stretching back to June 2018. Last year they did put themselves into great position in all 5 games. They were ahead after the first innings of all 5 matches, but unable for various reasons, either the quality of the opposition, their own poor performances, the surface, or the rain. There are a number of reasons, but they weren't able to convert first innings wins into overall match victories. And they've got to do it this year. I like the look of the top order. I think we can pretty much nail on the way they're going to go with the batting, but there's probably 6 or 7 or 8 bowlers that are putting their hands up saying I want to have a go here, and the selection for the first game or two is going to be very, very interesting.
This time last year, of course, that lockdown was just starting and it didn't look like we'd get much cricket. We didn't see the 100. We saw bits and bobs of cricket throughout towards the end of the summer, but it seems like now things are just beginning to open up. We should hopefully get a full summer in. There's plenty to look forward to this summer.
Very much so, yes. It's a summer that's going to bring us another competition. Of course, the franchise teams are all going to be involved in the 100 towards the latter part of the summer. The Trent Rockets will be playing their home games here, but in terms of what Nottinghamshire are going to be about, well, they will have 14 first-class matches, different way of doing it. We're not going to have a Division 1 and Division 2 anymore. The 18 counties have been split into 3 groups of 6, playing everybody home and away initially in the first part. The T20 Blast competition that Notts won so decisively, I think, at Edgbaston at the end of last season, will be through June, the early part of July, and then the 50-over competition, again one that Notts have had success in, that will be played alongside the 100, and of course Notts are going to be missing 8, 9, 10, 11 of their squad to that, so that's going to be very much a second string tournament as far as Notts are concerned.
Yeah, well listen, we'll look forward to hearing your commentary as always. Dave Bracegirdle, thank you very much. Enjoy day one of that friendly.
So there we are, just a little update with BBC Radio Nottingham, who've now left us, just to get one or two more interviews, no doubt, from Forest's win over Cardiff, Mansfield's loss to Leyton Orient. In the meantime, the scores advance, as you'll have seen on your screen, 60 for 2, one ball left in this, the 20th over. Quietly impressed here by Ed Barnes. None for 2 so far, and he's kept Joe Clark quiet during the course of that over. And he gets his first maiden, 3 overs, 1 maiden, none for 2. 60 for 2 knots. Duckett has 8, Clark has 12. They've put 21 on since those 2 wickets went down in quick succession. A Seabermead 23 and Ben Slater 16. Ben Mike 5 overs, 1 for 19. Not that it's tiring or anything, but I would imagine this would be the last over for Ben. Bowls to Duckett and plays it up to mid-on and says wait. Joe Clark, don't think was running anyway. Instead he stands and rehearses a forward defensive push with his hand. But with regards to Ben Mike, I just think Leicestershire and probably Colin Atkinson would want to just give somebody else just a little bowl. I would imagine we might see a bit of Callum Parkinson. 60 for 2. Duckett on strike on 8. Clips this one away on the leg side and gets down the other end. So we'll all swap over for the right-handed Clark. 61 for 2. Suddenly got very noisy outside the ground. I'm not sure what that is. Some piece of, I was going to say some outside the ground. It's not. The ground staff have started up a mower where the players have finished their net away to our left. It's a noisy old mower. 61 for 2. Mike into Clark. Nice straight drive. Good fielding off his own bowling from Ben Mike. Sprawled down onto the Trent Bridge surface. Good stop. Little bit of gentle breeze. Seems to be blowing it towards the west rather than the other way around as it usually does. This down the leg side, and yeah, it brushed the pad on the way through to race away for 4 leg byes. 4 more to the total. It's always a bit of a the field inside, and then everybody almost in unison, back supporting the bowler. Come on, Ben. Ball into Joe Clark, who's on 12. He's gone for a cut there, one that was a little close to him and kept a little low, so his chances of executing it were slim. Extra cover at the moment is Alex Evans, and as I mentioned when he came out, 3 innings so far this season, a couple here against Oxford University and one at Edgbaston, and twice he's been caught at extra cover, driving upishly. And he'd do well to drive at that one. Lovely delivery from Ben Mike. Just have a look at Colin Atkinson as he makes his way down to the other end. Is he having a word? Yeah, he's caught Ben Mike up and he's having a word. I would have thought, don't know, the way they were chatting, it may be that I want to change the field, but I would have thought 6 overs. Get another bowl tomorrow. I'm going to spell it right now. Meanwhile, he is going to spell it right now from this end, because Ed Barnes, who's bowled just 3 overs, none for 2, is going to make way for Callum Parkinson. Twin of Lancashire's Matt, as I think most cricket observers are well aware. Perhaps they're not aware or have forgotten. He actually started with Derbyshire rather than Leicestershire. Bowled an absolute gem of a ball to bowl Alex Hales in the quarter-final. His first delivery to Ben Duckett is soundly defended. 65 for 2. This is the 22nd over. I wonder if Ed Barnes might be switched to the other end. Ben Duckett's got cute there. He's gone down on one knee and deflected the ball over his right shoulder. It's a couple of runs. I suppose if that's how you'd go about things in a match situation, even if it is a pre-season friendly, then why not? Parkinson again, and once more on the sweep this time. Duckett's got good contact and gets a single. 68 for 2. Both batsmen on 12. Now a short extra cover in George Rhodes and an extra cover behind him. Oh, in Ben Mike, but a high loopy leg side full toss there sent down, which Clark missed out on. Works this one out to the deep on the leg side. Alex Evans fields. Yes, I certainly don't think Ed Barnes has finished. He's continuing to stay loose. He's only had 3 overs and then he was brought off at this end. Now I would imagine he will replace Ben Mike at the pavilion end. In fact, Mike's got his sweater and cap back on. Duckett again on the sweep. One more. So 5 from that opening over from Callum Parkinson. And Nottinghamshire 70 for 2. I think he's been promoted to vice captain this year, Parkinson. I think I read that. Yes, there's going to be Ed Barnes back. So Ben Mike 6 overs 1 for 20. Got the wicket of Asiba Mead. Ben Compton scheduled to come in at number 5. Stephen Mullaney down as 6, but Mullaney's bowling for 3/4 of an hour in the net, so I don't think if a couple of wickets go down, well, initially I don't think he'll be too pleased that 2 wickets have gone down, but I don't think we'll be seeing the captain out there. 71 for 2, but it may be that Ben Compton will take his appointed place in the order. Barnes to Clark. Just happy to dig it out. No pressure to score at any particular pace. I said earlier, they're playing as they would in a proper match, a competitive match, but without the pressure, if you like, the necessity to go along at a certain rate to chase bonus points. 71 for 2. This one's clipped on the leg side. 7 overs remaining in a championship match. I think there'd be some comment made if the last 7 overs of the day were all maidens, but it really doesn't matter if that's the case here. Just occupying the crease, just fine-tuning their own individual games. Treat the bowlers with respect if they send down deliveries that deserve it. 71 for 2. Duckett did look to score off Colin Atkinson though in the previous over. Didn't want him to settle, so let's see how he goes here and what the Foxes can do to prevent him bringing out his armoury of innovative trick shots. Starting to get a little gloomy. The lights in the executive suite, the top portion of the pavilion where some of the Notts players are changing, very, very bright indeed now. So to the names and the numbers on the Batman board. No real necessity in a friendly, I don't think, to put the floodlights on. Clark pushes it out and sees George Rhodes dive to his right. .72 for 2. This one's tossed up. Clark punches it to Barnes at mid-on. Wipe of the ball from the shirt-sleeved youngster. Back to Parkinson. Forecast looks as if it's going to remain dry again tomorrow. Similar sort of day to today. So chance for Notts to a good solid 4 hours batting, 2 sessions. Three for 2. We've seen these matches in the past when they've been split like this, 60-30. It's been very much on day 2 a starter fresh, if you want. Doesn't matter about the batting order. Send out your 2 openers again if you want, or whatever. But interesting, last week or the start of the week at Warwickshire, 2 Warwickshire not out batsmen on the first evening carried on the second morning. That's not normally the way these matches are played, but nothing, I suppose, to stop Clark and Duckett if they are unbeaten overnight to start again tomorrow morning. In fact, it may well be that that's the way Notts would want to go anyway, because, as I say, neither of them have really had lengthy spells of batting. Whereas pre-season hundreds so far for Slater, Compton and Mullaney, 50s from Asib Hamid and Tom Moores. These are the 2 that really haven't had time in the middle yet. So it may well be that if they're not out tonight, they might start with them in the morning. Even if one or both of them is out tonight, they might want to start with them in the morning. 74 for 2. Halfway through the 25th over of the 30 that Notts will be batting here. Batsman on 50, Duckett on strike. There's that leg side clip, a wristy looking shot. Well fielded by Alex Evans, keeps them to 1. If you've shared your day with us here at Trent Bridge, then thank you very much. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend. We'll be back on air hopefully just before 11 o'clock, just before they start tomorrow morning. Close of play tonight, just to mark your card. We are hoping to get 1 or 2 interviews. This one's clipped away on the leg side. I would imagine that would be from the Nottinghamshire viewpoint, but before I sign off, I'll just remind you just to stay with us for hopefully a minute or 2 whilst Aaron can get 1 or 2 people to talk to on the far boundary edge. 75 for 2. Joe Clark on strike. To manufacture anything from the final ball of the over. Barnes 5 overs, none for 5. This is a very decent start for him. Talked earlier about Leicestershire and their overseas plans for this year. Vian Mulder, the South African, was due to come in, but international commitments have meant that he's not going to be coming now. And Marcus Harris, the Australian left-handed opening batsman, had a handful of tests for Australia will be joining up shortly. 75 for 2. Question asked outside the off stump. Clearly didn't hit it, but may have been an appeal for brushing the pad perhaps, but either way brushed aside by umpire Cook, who knows a thing or two about the art of left arm spin bowling. Samit Patel in red ball for Nottinghamshire this season. Well, that's the plan. Dropped on the leg side. I think there is the scenario if the situation developed where they were very much in need of strengthening the middle order or bringing in an extra spinner. And he'd be susceptible to the idea. I'm sure he would. But right now it's not the plan. 75 for 2, and in fact that's going to be stumps. They're going to knock it on the head at 6 o'clock. They're not going to go through the full 30 overs. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen. They've decided at 75 for 2 after 26 overs that they will call it a day. Ben Duckett 16 not out, Joe Clark 15 not out. Earlier in the day Leicestershire posted 192 for 4. A couple of players retired. Sam Evans for 52, Colin Atkinson for 29. The players out: Lewis Hill for 30, George Rhodes 41, Rishi Patel 10, Ben Mike for 5, Harry Swindles and Scott Steele were unbeaten. 192 for 4 wickets for Hutton, James, Patterson and Chappell. And when Notts battered after tea, Ben Slater, LBW, Alex Evans for 16. That was 39 for 1 in the 12th over. And at the start of the 13th over, his opening partner, Asiba Mead, caught behind by Harry Swindles off the bowling of Ben Mike for 23. Still 39 on the board then, 39 for 2. Ben Duckett 16 not out, and Joe Clark 15 not out. So pretty much starts for everybody on the day. 75 for 2. The old saying is you want to get out of these games what you put into it, and I think that both sets of players, both teams have put a lot into it today. There's been quite a number of players who've put their hand up certainly for a place, got themselves in the reckoning, in contention to start for both sides, I guess. Next week, not starting against Durham, as we've said, and Hampshire starting at, or rather Leicestershire starting at home to Hampshire, and it'll be very interesting to see from both sides how many that we've seen today feature and go on and do well. Notts, I think, look to have got their top order sorted out, well, their top and middle order sorted out, but I couldn't, in all honesty, begin to guess which way they will go with the pace bowlers. Will it be Fletch, Carter and Hutton? Will it be two of those and Chappell? Will Lyndon James come into the equation? Will they decide perhaps to go with an extra one and perhaps leave out one of the batsmen, Ben Compton maybe? I don't know. That would seem extremely harsh to me. I would think Ben has maybe done enough and deserves a place. It'd be very, very interesting to see. What they don't want, of course, what nobody wants is their plans to be altered by injury, and thankfully it seems that everybody from both sides has come through unscathed today. So that's going to be it from me for this evening from Trent Bridge. Where are we? About 6:05. But if you've got your live stream up and it's running and you're pottering about and what have you, I would urge you just to leave it on for a minute or two. We've got Aaron Lord down there on the boundary edge. He's got the cameraman with him, all set and ready to go. We're just waiting for perhaps one or two of the players or the coaching staffs to come out and have a bit of a natter to him, the post-match reaction. So that's up and coming. So stick around for that with Aaron. But from me, it's a very good night and a very good Friday from myself, Dave Bracegirdle. Thanks for your company today, and all being well, I'll speak to you just before 11 tomorrow morning. That's a nice looking shot on the front foot from Evans, and that one will just run away over the right, get up as high as cold. It really was chilly.